Hey guys, how you doing? Sam, Jersey guy, huh?
I am, Hoboken.
How'd you end up? How'd you end up in show business out of Jersey? Because Jersey's not exactly pipeline for film. So
I guess not. Yeah, no, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, like since I was 8 years old, and I went to NYU. Part of the reason why I have like this huge fascination in New York, and then went out to LA because that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And then kind of came back full circle. Actually, everything I wrote was set in New York because I just wanted some excuse to
come back.
Everything I wrote, yeah.
So going forward for the rest of your life, everything's New York based.
It's always exterior New York City. Yeah.
The shows, I mean, will be a real reboot. Things have changed. The world has changed. Life has changed at the end of it.
Yeah, no, life has changed. You know, it's
partially to this creepy character.
Yeah. Yeah, he's causing a lot of trouble for our guy. You know, it's interesting, like especially in the wake of like all these awesome reboots, like Leftovers just rebooted and Halt and Catch Fire just rebooted and really successfully. And that we were just in the writers' room talking about how, in a lot of ways, this new season is a little bit of a reboot, but it's also a very much continuation of what happened in season 1. And really kind of a reaction, consequences and repercussions of what happened in season 1. So it's a little bit of both.
Is it scary to be kind of going into new territory and kind of shoot a reboot? Because you mentioned Halt and Catch Fire, but that rebooted from kind of mixed reviews about the first season, but you guys kind of had unanimous praise. So.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, like for example, one of my favorite characters that we wrote was Vera. The drug dealer, and he had like 2 episodes, and people loved him or whatever, and then he moved on. We were never afraid to be like, we're going to do something awesome, we're going to create like an awesome storyline, and then move on. Because if it doesn't feel organic to the storyline, we were never of the opinion that we have to drag things out, even if we think we struck gold. We always had the confidence that we'll just come up with something even better.
So Martin, how come all these Swedish people are so talented? You guys do all the accents. You're flipping around. At first, I had to look up where's he from. What's up with Sweden now?
Oh, thank you.
What's in the water there?
I think a big part of it, if you compare it to like Germany, Spain, Italy, we don't do the dubbing on TV, so we have a lot of American TV and English subtitling. And yes, we start learning English pretty early.
Wow.
And a lot of great Swedes have walked across the water for me, so it's a great trail to walk.
So at the end of last year, you're missing, obviously. But we saw Terrell and LA kind of joined together. We don't know what happens after that. But that Terrell that's like once you get into that war, I mean, that kind of feels like it goes against everything you've been working forward to rise to the top.
It's a good question. It's a great question. I mean, I think for him, there's something about Elliot that is very, like, I was thinking about this the other day, that if you see Terrell with his wife, you don't have that kind of sexual tension between them, but between Elliot and Terrell, there's really something, there's a tension. So I think there's more than F society. I mean, he will always use things to get what he wants. There's something about Elliot that is more than just F society, evil corp. He wants to consume him, I guess. And so I think there's more about this tension.
It's more about Elliot rather than F society.
That's what I think. I mean,
yeah, I think Terrell's so desperate for Elliot's approval. I mean, in episode 2, when Elliot rejects him, I mean, he walks away like he just got broken. Yeah, exactly.
And that was very interesting. We started working on that. We kind of saw that in the first episode, but this tension, this how much Terrell wants Elliot. So I mean, it's so interesting. It's almost like it's physical. And one of my favorite things when playing Terrell is Elliot scenes where it's like I want to hug you. I want to do things I can't talk about.
But we've seen him do.
Yeah, that's true.
He's capable of a lot.
You mentioned Tyrell and his wife. Do you in your head have like a backstory for that whole relationship? Because you don't really go into it, but that's a fascinating kind of like Lady Macbeth kind of thing.
She is, and we talked a lot about that, and I don't think that in America you notice, but she's actually speaking Danish, now speaking Swedish. So from the beginning, I think it was you thought of her speaking Swedish.
Yeah.
So me and Stephanie talked about that, and we know a lot of Swedes and it's married to each other, and we thought, well, you speak Danish and I speak Swedish, and that creates kind of a backstory. They've been together for a long time. So yeah, we talked a lot about the backstory.
Season 1 had a very interesting marketing strategy, especially going forward with Season 2 using Proton Mail and aspects of that. How much involved are you with that?
I wish I'm not as involved as I'd like. I don't have any background in marketing or anything like that, but I always find marketing fascinating, and I love that they released a pilot a month before we aired. So I mean, I think they get really creative, and I'm not as involved, but I think hopefully going into the second season I'll get more into it for sure.
How'd this show end up on USA? Because it doesn't seem like a USA show. Because when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, what's this doing on USA? There's no sunglasses, and there's no like good-looking, guys with their hair slicked back. How did it end up? Well, except you. Except you.
I have to say, I get asked this question a lot. I think we were in a very interesting position with them because they were in a place where they wanted to reinvent their brand. They really loved the show, and they were passionate about the show. And we were like, and you don't really want to change anything about the show? I mean, and if you've seen the pilot,
Miami?
there's a couple of things in the pilot where I would think, a network would want to change, and they didn't. And that was really good to hear. And it was kind of like a great opportunity where they really needed us, we needed them, and it kind of just brought about this great relationship where they gave us the creative freedom.
I think filming the second season, do you know what's happening?
No. March, I believe.
March, yeah.
Is when we will march forward on this world built on fantasy concept. Yeah.
It's going to be dark, I hear.
Since you may have ruined the world.
Yeah. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see where for us, as much as anybody else, it's going to be interesting to see where Sam takes it and where it goes, and what he's going to make him go through again. Us, I guess. Yeah.
We're a team.
I'll be there for you. Yeah, exactly.
So what was it like shooting the season? Did everyone ignore you on the set just to make sure they didn't screw up any of the shots on the show? How did that work?
Did I feel?
Did you feel left out?
Did I feel left out? No, I mean, no. I tried to play it as much as possible as though I was real. There was definitely some. What was great is that Sam was there really like 98% of the time, and he was very careful about how all those scenes were shot, and every decision was made. And look, there were moments where, just being an actor, I would have an instinct, and sometimes I'd have to play against that particular instinct because it would have revealed too much or given something away. So I enjoyed the whole process of having a secret was really fun, and also having to rein certain things in along the way. It was great.
Was playing Elliot's imagined father different from how you would have played Elliot's father?
I guess probably in a certain respect, because I am a vision of his, and it's made up of a lot of different elements and aspects and movie icons and ideas, and I think the ideal of what he would have liked his father to have been, because I think in the reality he was not necessarily, as far as I know at this point, the most heroic sort of character. I mean, I think he did take on a lot and suffered greatly for it. So this is probably the idea and the fantasy of what he would have liked to have had as a father.
The robot kind of show up and Elliot's house. But do you think that this delusion is really helping, or is it kind of going to be mental destruction at the end?
Question for us. Hard to know at this point. You know, it is definitely something that he's going to have to deal with. And this show and Sam treats this mental issue with the utmost respect and has tried to be as, I think, realistic and honest with it as possible. So I'm sure it's going to be a very painful and tumultuous journey for Elliot to have to get through this. So it's going to be tricky. I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but it'll be intriguing. Certainly as an actor, to get to play it will be intriguing.
Yeah, whatever makes it harder for Elliot, I think is the way we're generally going to go.
Yeah.
Don't have to ask that question. It's gonna obviously.
There will be hurdles.
Yeah.
Rami, there's no other character on TV like yours. How did you develop that? Because he's creepy yet chicks dig him. You know, he's talented, he's smart, but he's a little nutty. Like, how do you come up with that?
Say it.
No, it's like when we were in Germany at the Cologne thing, at that festival, and we were watching the pilot again. We weren't really sure we wanted to watch the pilot again, but we did, and they wanted us to sit. And I just loved it. And the scene in the coffee shop in the beginning when he said, "I am very different." It just you could feel like a shiver went through the audience. I felt like it, and you're right when you say it was a very unique and very different type of character. It was just such a great way to sort of set the tone of where this guy was going to go, because it is very different and very unusual.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
How'd you tackle it?
Another thing is someone said, for being a reclusive, lonely, nerdy guy, who has 4 very attractive women?
And you've got a cool ghost. Everything's great.
Everything's cool. I get to wear all black, put my hoodie on, and roll through the streets of New York. I think that's what it is. He's his own creature, but he accepts who he is to a certain degree, and he's not that closeted guy living in his mom's basement. He does have these grand aspirations to be normal and to do something about the society he lives in, and I think that's endearing.
Will the power relationship really change now that you really know who your father and who his robot is? You expect that you'll have a lot more control over?
No, it's the same thing. It's like if you ask him, Sam's never going to give me control over anything. The character. You give him control, I think you take away from having any other major struggle. Right? There will be struggles, but not as much as if he just has no power. He's powerless. He's struggling to find his power.
I think it's certainly dealing with a lot of global, and I just photobombed it. Yeah. Very relevant issues. I think across the planet. We're dealing with hacking, we're dealing with financial issues. There's a lot of concern out there, I think, universally. And, making a show like this, it's been, a lot of the things that have been happening in the news have been great for the show, but scary in the world in general. So, and a show like this, I guess, is helpful in shedding light on a lot of that stuff, and I think raising people's awareness of the dangers and things to look out for.
What's it like playing a character on a show like that, where you're dealing with the weight of all this financial madness out there and these hacking things, and then you actually have to go back and be in that world as a real person? So what's it like to kind of internalize that as a character and then take it out?
I don't quite know how to answer that question. I would say that, it all stemmed from reading it, and when I read it, I saw here were a number of different human beings who were struggling with
array of situations that are I think plaguing so many of us at the moment. And I think it struck a chord with a lot of people. It does with me, and having gone through all these situations and learning more about just the ills of society, it just affects me as a human being now. I mean, it's taught me a lot more about who I am and the things I want to do with my life, and I think that's the effect that it has on a lot of people watching it. So it's entertaining, but it has so much more value, not only to myself, but to everyone who interacts with it.
Yeah, and money being the operating system of our world. I mean, that just reading that line was intriguing to me, and not something I really thought about. And these digital displays and bipolar numbers jumping up and down, and I mean, it's crazy. You know, it really is living in a very strange and bizarre time. So it is weird to sort of come back out into the world after shooting something like this and look at it in a new pair of glasses.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Incidentally, kind of all connected, thank God. And I think filming anything with someone is like summer camp. You become like so close so fast because you're with them all the time. And because you're with them all the time and working with them, and which is like a very intimate thing, but also I think that we just get along.
How do you like her?
Yeah. I paid her to say that.
Yeah, we have like an agreement of getting along. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's awesome. I'm lucky. Like, this cast is amazing. I don't know how. I'm so grateful. I love her. I love Ram. Like, I truly do love him so much. And Sam as well. It's like, it's so crazy that we get to be authentic human beings and also be a part and like love each other and be a part of something that we really believe in, at the same time and work really hard. So it's been great. How hallmark of your friendship on the screen. Me too.
Yeah, it was great. And now that Angela is kind of in the belly of the beast and working for Equal, how is that gonna put a huge risk in that friendship going forward?
No idea.
No idea.
Sam won't tell
Maybe in real life. We were in the car on the way over here actually talking about that, and he won't tell us. But I can't imagine that it wouldn't. Because that's everything I'm fighting against, and that's something that she's becoming a part of. So I can't imagine me being like, oh, that's okay, how was work today?
I will say, though, that Sam's super unpredictable, so I don't underestimate any possibility. So I really like that.
So we're going to go this way. Okay, awesome. Sorry, it's a little tight. We're going to go to that table in the back. We're going to go to that table over here.
I don't know where that's going.
Squishy, yeah, but we're going to make it.
Is it a character that will always be torn between the various?
I wish it just went either way. It's like easier just like knowing, you know what I mean? I was thinking about that. I just asked Sam that in the car before we got here, There is something interesting though about that, because you're essentially watching, like, how does Terry Colby become Terry Colby? He doesn't start off with the perception that he has. He was slowly corrupted over time, and like, what does that look like to go from someone that's extremely kind of innocent and naive, but intelligent, and like, how does that corruption kind of slowly lead somebody in the wrong direction? Who knows? I don't think that he's done playing with that yet. I think he's going to torture Angela, I think he's going to torture that character. That would be my guess.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Carly, so we obviously know that Mr. Robot and, the relationship between Elliot and his father played a huge role in legal pain later on in life. Is the relationship between Darth and your father something that, like, we'll see explored more in season 2?
Yeah.
We don't really know much about their relationship.
Right. I would love that, and I was just saying, one of the things that I'm most curious about is Darlene and Elliot's relationship before episode 90, and what that looks like. And when she told me like you guys were never that close, that to me was really surprising. I didn't know that, and so I would love to see how that play out, and her relationship with Mr. Robot. And I know that when we filmed the scene when he was at his grave, I had a whole moment there too where I was like, this is my dad also, so yeah, I'm very, very interested about that.
What does it say about that relationship for most of the season? Darlene doesn't even realize that Elliot doesn't recognize it.
I think that, I'm going to say I as Darlene. Or I don't know, whatever. Okay, so I think that she knows it's weird. And so there are some things, like in the second episode where he asks how I know where he lives. And I give him a look that's like, what? Why wouldn't I know where you live? And you can see those things in my performance, but I think that, it progressively got worse where it's like, wait, what? Especially, when he kisses her, that it's like, what's going on? But I think all those other weird kind of things, she just let go as like, this is Elliot. Because there wasn't, I think that was one of the main things that it was like her first kind of
Sam seems like a secretive guy. How far along did he tell you guys about the twist in season 1? Did you guys know that early on, or?
I knew from the very beginning.
Okay, so I guess it would help you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he actually told me before I tested for the show, which I cannot believe.
Did he say spoiler alert first?
He said I was with Sam and Chad, and I was reading with him, and was obviously playing it so, but not necessarily that different, but playing it away. And he goes, well, that's her brother. And I was like, no, why would I know that? Are you kidding? And then, and so, it really shifted the way I had to look at everything, and the way that, that completely changed absolutely everything. So
it didn't change too much because there still seemed like there was some still sexual tension a little bit until the scenes early on, right? Between you?
Well, maybe on his part, because he wasn't aware. But for me, it was more of like brotherly sister affection. But it is, I'm coming out of this is my brother. He's coming out of this like, who the fuck is this? So it was, it wasn't as tricky as people might think that it was, because the whole time I knew, and the whole time that's the relationship that I had. And I think for the audience, though, for a very long time until that came out, everyone was kind of like, this girl, and why is she doing this, and blah, 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 blah. And I wanted so badly to do it, because he's so So when everyone finally found that out, people were like, oh, this all makes sense now. I want to go back and watch it knowing that. So it was a very exciting moment for me for finally everyone to know.
Do you know if he knew before it came out?
Yeah, he knew. I think, we all, me, Portia, Rami, Christian, we all knew from the beginning. But the table read, during that, the other half of the table, everyone goes, what? I was like freaking out. So it was like cool to see their reaction, but we all knew from the beginning.